So we are here in the great state of Delaware, and we're at Printed Solid's new location. It's got a lot more room, plenty of room for expansion in the future as well. And now we're gonna go inside and take a look. If I can get in the door, Okay, so I know people say I look like Joe, but according to the Face ID...
Here, let me help you out with this.
You're gonna let me in. David's gonna let me in. So for those that don't know, this is David Randolph.
Hi.
He's the boss.
All right, so this is our little lobby area here. We've actually grown quite a bit in the last year. We started out at 14,000 square feet across all of our buildings at the old location. We are now at over 97,000 square feet.
That's huge.
That's huge. So I'm going to go ahead and give you a quick tour here. Let's go ahead and knock out all the boring office spaces and all that stuff so we can get to the fun rooms.
So we're going to go visit the cubicle farm before the print farm.
That's right. All right, so we have a little show space here. This is where we give everyone a little chance to taste the printers and stuff like that. Our HT90 we normally have in here is actually just coming back from Printopia right now. And in here we have, starting within the next couple of weeks, a bunch of customer support people, shipping support people, logistics people, the whole 9 yards. I'm very proud of this. I finally have a conference room. It's like my cribs, you know? But I finally have a conference room in this place, and I'm all excited just for that boring stuff. I love to tell people, you know, this entire room, Facebook Marketplace, $300.
Yeah, so you're no longer having offices in hallways anymore.
Exactly. Now here, please don't judge me. You can judge my other guy, but this is our IT room. Ooh. And it, of course, you know, still doesn't have good cable management or anything like that, so it makes me cringe, but you get to see it, so yay!
So what do we got here? We got a bunch of Raspberry Pis, which is pretty cool to see.
So what I did is I actually built an entire ATSC cable network for our entire facility, so I didn't have to have Pis on the back of TVs and HDMI cables hanging out. Here, it's just a single coax that goes right to everybody's TV, and they change their channels just to choose what they want to look at.
Oh, that's cool. So that's how you use for your internal...
displays, manufacturing processes, the boards. If I want to play video loops, if the big game is on or anything like that, we can just put it up for everybody. Now we'll go upstairs. That's right, we have a second floor now. We'll go through here, and what you're going to find is that this is our entire sales floor. So we have an entire sales staff, and what they're doing is they are doing all the quotes, all the government paperwork, all the business paperwork, all the educational paperwork that they have to deal with. They, of course, have to get sucked up by all that time and logistics, the red tape guys. So we have their own little conference room and kitchen over here, which is nice. And then we run into the cubicle farm. So this is where all our salespeople hang out and do all the fun stuff. If you've never worked in corporate America, this is perfect. This is like the office, but better.
Yeah, printers.
And with 3D printers. So they actually have their own printers up here. We like to have our salespeople actually play with them.
Yeah, you have a big Dummy 13 project going on right here.
Just for fun. No real reason for it other than we just want to be entertained and have that stuff print out. So we get all the fun people to do that type of stuff. Now let's head down to the other fun part of the building. Oh, a little secret note for you. If you notice, the sales department is the farthest away from my office as you can be and still have air conditioning. That was intentional. Now that we're down here, we have a couple of rooms just for expansion, all that type of stuff. Have a few people through here. We have our own manufacturing operations people. And then we have, you know, a couple, you know, random popular people in here.
Yeah.
But they do our R&D.
I qualify as random popular?
Yes.
Yeah, you work here, apparently.
Oh, right.
So.
Yeah, I do work here.
So this is where we have Mitch and Anthony, and they take care of all of our research development, our little manufacturing processes, all that fun stuff. And we work our way through, and surprise, we're back in the lobby. And then you keep on going. Like I said, it's a lot of steps here.
Well, yeah, 100,000 square feet almost.
That's right. We hide Dustin in here. He does our operations and everything. So pretty much people have to get past Dustin to go to the break room. So that's their first deal. The other thing is they have to get past Dustin to get to my office, which is right over here. And then you're in my office. This is where I hide all the good stuff. This is where I make all the important decisions for the company. Ooh. Very important for us. And then what you'll see here is that you come out this way, and now we're into the fun rooms.
Yeah, so you got your office next to the fun part.
That's right. That way, all the people that actually do the fun stuff have to walk by my office every day. And I can stare them in the eye and be like, I'm jealous.
Yeah, you're too important now to do fun stuff. You got to do paperwork.
That's right. So here, this entire space, you'll notice that if you remember in the old building, it was a very small room. It was only a couple thousand square feet. that was doing extrusion. Here is all of our extrusion lines just sitting here in the corner. We have more than enough room to expand this space and put in as many extrusion lines as we want.
So right now, these are the same machines you had in the old location, but you have so much room to expand now. Because when you move into a new location, you don't want to already be at capacity. You want room for years from now.
That's right. I kind of want to put like bunk beds over there so I can just be over there and jump up and down and go, so much room for activities. It'll be great. So we got to walk and walk and walk and walk.
You need some segues in here.
Yes, we do. Now you'll notice I got 480 volt, 3-phase, 2000 amps with an option to add on another 4,000 amps. Ooh, just for fun. You know, in case I want to put a big TV in or something. So if you come in here.
So this is the master batch room.
This is the master batch room. This is where we get all of our colors. So they will do the tiny little samples here for us testing, making sure we don't get any contamination, anything like that. If our people find the contamination, it ends up in here. That's usually what would end up in our mixtapes or anything like that.
So for those that don't know, when you receive your bulk resin, it's undyed. So essentially think of this as all the dye to color the filament.
Yes. As I like to say, it's the most expensive room in the company because it's just like coloring cartridges. You come over here, these are all our dryers. So this is what's drying the material. So that's why most of the time you don't have to dry your filament. It's already been dried. And we have dryers for each different material that we make here. We're doing PLA and PETG right now, but we have a couple of extra dryers that are to be determined. We're still working on that. Ooh. Then you come over here and here's our extrusion line. Our extrusion lines are primarily going under a little maintenance today for a lot of them, but that is just to keep it easier to give tours since it's at 3D Printopia. That's the giant extruder to extrude it out, put the filament all the way down all the water tanks, go through lasers, tractors, accumulators, everything to get all the way to the spool. And we run 3 Jesse lines right now and 1 Prusa line. The 1 Prusa line is making 2 kilogram spools as well as refill spools here in the United States for us. We are working on expanding that, but that is what we're currently doing.
So that's what that orange machine right there is doing.
That's the whole orange machine is just for Prusa. Because it would be unfair for me to produce a Prusa filament on our machines. So we use their exact same machinery so that no one can complain or say there's a difference. And then you have all the resins that come in. We're a little low right now, but we got more coming. We buy that by the truckloads these days.
So how much resin is in each gator? So what, 1.5 tons roughly?
750 kilograms.
Okay.
Exactly, so that's about 750 spools in each one of those boxes, give or take. We are currently packing up our newly about to be launched F boxes, which are kind of exciting little products. So these are the actual filament boxes that are dry boxes for us. Our little secret to our dry boxes is that they are fully polycarbonate, so they are UV blocking, which is important so you don't get any of that UV degradation of your filaments. We have desiccant packs that you can fill up with rechargeable desiccant. And then it gets a full lid that gets a complete seal over the product.
So it does have a gasket in there?
It does have a gasket that's actually put in at the factory. So it's not a ring or anything like that. It's actually injected. So it'll seal up. And then it comes with feet that you can put on the bottom and you can stack your spools up that way or set them this way, whichever way you want, and keep your filament in here while it's on your machine. Really good for like MMU type of stuff, anything along those lines. Now we're working our way through to the fun room. This is the room that I guess makes a lot of Prusa people drool because it is completely full with printers. So we've been ramping up to have more and more here in the United States, which has been a big deal. Probably remember Prusa always had a hard stocking problem. And the problem with stocking has been the demand's been high. So Prusa's caught up with that. We're helping out with demand and we're finally able to stay ahead of the demand a little bit, which just means an entire warehouse full of stuff with more on the way. We get a couple containers at least a week minimum.
So right now we're looking at, we got what? We got XLs, there's Core 1s, XLs, Mark 4Ss. So right now we're gonna get to it in a minute, but the XLs, they're coming over from Prague. Those are being shipped here and then being redistributed from you guys.
Correct.
Those Mark 4s and Core 1s, they're assembled here.
Yes. We are on the edge of actually going full production with Core 1s and having them start shipping from this warehouse. We have to produce a couple, thousand before we can actually start manufacturing for the public, as it were. So test our processes to make sure of it. The favorite story I always like to tell, and this is a good one real quick, there was a guitar company manufacturer, and they opened up a factory in Japan, they opened up a factory in Mexico, and they opened up a factory in the United States. And now if you go out and ask anyone who has the best guitars, they'll tell them only the ones in Japan are good because there's a difference between the United States one and the Mexico ones. We want to make sure that you can't tell the difference. That is critical for us. We want to make sure that if you buy from us in the United States or if you buy from Czech, they're the exact same machine. So that's why we are making sure we have it perfect before we release it. All right, so we have all this shipping area, all this filament. This includes all of our Jesse, everything like that. We built this space out so that we can mirror Prusa exactly. That's been the biggest thing, is trying to do everything that's good with printed solid with everything that's good at Prusa and put them both into the same buildings. So a lot of our ideas go back over there, a lot of their ideas come over here. So we're trying to narrow the difference between the two companies. One of the exciting parts of that is adding manufacturing here in the United States. Last year we added the MK4 assembly. This year we are adding the Core 1 assembly. So that's what we made this entire section for here. But before we go here, I have to point out a little secret. We have an entire railroad track down the backside of this building so we can actually get shipments in and out via railroad car, which is kind of fun.
That's cool.
Now, we don't get a lot of railroad shipments here, but I'm kind of trying to encourage 3D printing people to come up with stuff that should be on railroad tracks so that we can test it out back here. We got about 500 feet of just pure railroad track to try stuff on.
So it's a separate spar off of the main line?
That's right, that's all under our control. All right, now let's go check out manufacturing. Which I have to tell you, when this building was completely empty, when we first moved in, I loved doing donuts in my car inside this building. It was great.
When this was all empty, I bet.
Oh, it's wonderful, wonderful. And then we have the engineering department. That's run by our guy, Matthew Flinchbaum. And I will tell you this, he has the job I wish I had. So instead, I sit in the office and do all the paperwork and all that stuff. But he gets to fix everything in the facility, build it all out and all that stuff. Blame him for the network cable you saw in the IT room. All right, so we work our way through here. You'll see that there's a lot of packing supplies. This is all the foam and the boxes and stuff like that that we have to get to pack up the Prusa printers. And people don't realize how much room that actually takes up. It's huge. It's a massive, factory or massive square footage to actually keep that stuff. All right, we'll take a quick detour because I love to show this off. I have a wonderful a support department here. So we're taking care of all of Prusa's researches, repairs and stuff like that here in the United States. We take care of all that here, as well as we take care of our own customers and things like that. So we got a whole team for support, and then we also have, starting very soon, our own customer support team just for managing your calls and emails separately. So we are growing like crazy here. All right, now let's head into the next room. We are now actually 3D printing all the parts for our Core 1s and MK4s here in the United States. And as you can tell, there's a bunch of tours being going on and all that stuff. But we have 102 printers in here right now, printing out parts for all of the Core 1s and MK4s that are currently in production.
So it's Monday morning right now, and the farm's been offline for the weekend, right?
That's correct.
So it's not as hot or as loud in here right now, which is kind of good.
Which is good. But we also run active dehumidifiers, drying and temperature control for this space to keep everything the same. Primarily because Prusa has a very high standard for a perfect part. So every single individual part gets inspected, has its own checklist to make sure that it comes off the printer just perfect.
So it's pretty cool where you're getting these printers though for this farm though, because these are all returns, right? These are all refurb printers. These are printers that were Amazon returns or had some issue. And now you're giving them a second life, reusing them in these print farms.
Yes, so we do all that type of stuff, and it's just made out of any of the parts and things like that. We don't want to waste anything, so this is how we do it. It's also a great way to train all of our technicians and engineers so that they're the ones that are rebuilding them and making sure that they're all running. It keeps us up the line. It keeps us, actually has a really great test base to make sure that we know any problems that a printer might have over its lifetime. And then we come out here and you'll see a bunch of MK4s still being produced and stuff like that. And what they will do is they will run their full test, and everyone's used to the normal receipts that you see that come with the printers. We follow the exact same receipts. In fact, those receipts are printed from Prague to our printers here.
Oh.
So we don't do it locally.
So you're tied into the system that Prusa uses.
We're tied into their networking system so that we follow the exact same process. And then what we're going to do is we're going to pop in here into the MK4 room. Now, if you remember last year in our MK4 room, everything was really tight and everyone was real close together. Well, in here they have plenty of room to expand. I'm not going to tell you why they're expanding, but we have plenty of room to expand for other stuff. So they're all in here. They're all keeping up with the MK4 production just fine. One of the big differences for us is that our MK4 assembly is more traditional. So we have one person building one printer at a time. So these guys crank on it and they build the whole printer ready to go. However, we are adopting, for our next printer, we are adopting more traditional Prusa techniques of sub-assemblies. I'll show you that.
So right now, they're assembling the Mark IV. They're taking the box of parts from Prague. They're fully assembling. How long does it take a skilled employee to put together a Mark IVs?
It can vary, but we have some that can do it in an hour and a half and some that can do it in about 2 hours.
That's pretty quick.
That's pretty quick. And that includes testing.
Oh, nice.
And then we got some final testing here. Everyone's coming back from 3D Printopia, so we're not at 100% speed yet today.
Yeah. It's good for filming, though.
It's good for filming. Makes it a little bit quieter for you. Unless we run into some of the other tours that are happening, of course. We'll come into this room, and what you'll notice is that this is our Core 1 production. So we have our room set up that we can fully staff it out. We can generate Core 1s 24/7 if we have to. We're scaling up slowly and responsibly to make sure we have the exact same processes. You'll notice that. You might see some interesting faces here and things like that. One of our favorite things to do is that we adopt a lot of what Prusa does over there, but we put our own spin on it. We actually have our own R&D and manufacturing engineering group here in-house that handle all the adjustments that are necessary to make it work in the United States.
So these are the carts here that the workers are using to assemble the Core 1s in the different sections and the different stations. So these are in-house made?
These are in-house made. We do all that. Prusa has their own version of it because they have some extrusion suppliers they like to use. We like to use solid steel, America, and we make it happen. But then over here, we have final assembly. This is where the guys are doing the final assembly. And this is where they take all the final pieces and the machine starts to take on its full shape, start to bottom. And these guys crank them out, and we're talking still well under 2 hours per machine all the way start to finish for everything that we do.
So once the printers complete their testing, they come out on these carts here, and that's where we actually start to prepare for packing and shipping. So the carts easily made up with our flipping mechanism here, and we have this set with a door hinge so that you can't slam these down. No matter how heavy you try, it is a controlled descent to ensure that the Core 1 does not get damaged when on this. At this point, cardboard is slid underneath the printer, so that is prepared with all the boxes and whatnot that you would normally get with accessories, and then is brought over to packaging. You'll notice that the rollers we have on here are a bit different. These make sure that the printer does not roll off of the rollers and does not cause any additional damage. So everything is really easy to work with, and it's all printed out of PET sheet.
Now we're at the other end of the building now. We didn't mention it, but of course, at the previous location, we literally had to unload every single truck by hand. Now we have loading docks. We're excited about this. We got 9 total loading docks on this whole space here.
And you got 2 forklifts.
And we have 2 forklifts. We have Forky McForkface and Shorty McShortface, because the other one doesn't go quite as high. That one's for Anthony and Mitch.
I see the smile.
But yes, this is our entire space. That's a lot of space compared to last time.
And plenty of room to grow, too.
Plenty of room to grow, but as Joseph has said to me on multiple occasions, he's just like, we'll never fill up that space. And I took that as a personal challenge.
Woo! So that was a quick tour of Printed Solid. I want to give a huge shout out to David here for giving us the guided tour of the new digs. There's plenty of room to expand, and what they have in there right now, it's just cool. If you ever get the chance, you do have an open store here, right? People can swing by.
Yeah, they should schedule if they're coming anytime soon, but in about a month or so, we'll have true open times.
Oh, that is awesome. So if you're in the area and you just want to pick up a printer or some filament directly and skip out on shipping,
We'll give you a tour.
Come visit them, give them a tour. So again,
No sales tax.
skip the tax. That's awesome. So yeah, David, thank you. Appreciate it. And cheers.